Good Monday. I think it's Monday. Monday the 13th. Lovely. Hope everybody had a great weekend. Survived the snow and ice. Sorry, I got my camera on the opposite side, so I'm like, where do I go look? Um, I hope everybody made it through the weekend. We did. Um, it was kind of this yucky. I know at my house it stayed right around 32 degrees the whole time. So Friday morning, early 6 o'clock, we had some great snow. But by 8 or 9, it was sleeting, raining, and this became kind of mush. It stayed that way all day Friday. Um, was it was I don't say clearing up, drying up. It was just kind of yucky and slushy. Um, Saturday wasn't too bad. Definitely by 9 or 10 o'clock. Once again, it was about 33, 34 at my house, and this was this slush. And Saturday night, the roads were clear. Uh, just careful. Got to be careful for the black ice. But once again, the roads were pretty much dry. There were a couple spots um, had to pay attention. It, for me, it wasn't that bad. I know some people lost power. Some people uh, that lived in subdivisions that had some hills and shades and stuff probably had some ice and snow down here. And definitely the further north you went, the worse it was. This because it was colder. All my friends and relatives back in Arkansas got about 8 inches of snow. I hadn't talked to my parents yet today to see if they still have snow around. They probably do. So they were at the front of the front, and it was a little colder there. So, but snow is not bad. It's the ice that always concerns me. But anyway, anywho, worked on little planes. Yeah, they're tiny. Um, what else? That was about it. Uh, I got some orders done last night, but need to finish them up today. I got Games Workshop and Monument. I need to do another order there. Getting ready for Siege of Augusta, and then turn around next month, going down to Jacksonville for Jacksonville for skirmish. Um, I got a list of conventions I need to finish up. We got Adepticon and Recon coming up after that, so I need to get the calendar updated for myself. So yeah, that's always a theme here: is update calendar, update calendar. Uh, had several thoughts this morning. Even the recent one, met my post lady. She's awesome. Actually, was stopping by the bank, and she was there. She gave me one of my packages and took one of my packages. But it was kind of interesting, and we had this a good discussion. Um, the post office is just right around the corner from me, and they had the lobby was closed, so you couldn't even drop anything off or get stamps or anything. Friday and Saturday, and both times I went by to see if they're open, there were people trying to get in to get their mail because the lobby was closed. They couldn't get into their post office boxes, so they wouldn't say they were upset. They were not happy they couldn't get their mail. So it was just interesting discussion we had. She said she actually did sorting mail yesterday, but of course she works in the back and even delivered some mail yesterday. So kudos to her. And but yeah, and I I get it. Um, Potential was there for it to be bad, and some people, like I said, probably did have it bad. Um, but yeah, this is interesting. And they started closing it at 7, the lobby at 7, and I used to drop packages off on my way home at 10:30 at night, but I can't do that anymore. So it was just interesting. And, I do understand they have issues with having the lobby open, but I don't know. I guess my view is if they have to have damages. I understand denying access, but if I had a PO box there, I don't know, not being able to get to my mail. Yeah, but versus getting it stolen. Yeah, it's one of those questions. Everybody's got their opinion. Anyway, and UPS didn't run Friday either. Like I said, Friday definitely had the potential. If it got a little colder, it would have been really bad here, just because of the ice. So we were lucky and it didn't. But I understand, keeping people safe, keeping people off the roads. So, but I know the UPS guy in our neighborhood, I felt like he was stopping at every house trying to play catch up because I don't know if they delivered on Saturday either, but so those guys are working their butts off. So kudos to them. Yeah, I had more discussions over the last few days, about carrying games, and that was kind of what I was thinking about this morning on my walk. Especially Kickstarters, and the topic came up several times with Trench Crusade. I think it's a great game, incredible minis. I love the concept, everything. Um, but the challenge is, it was a Kickstarter, and their big push. And once again, I love the concept and everything. Is they're just doing STL files right now. But as a retail shop, that really, I don't say a double whammy, but one thing, it was a Kickstarter, and getting it, and it's not the initial. It goes on to another discussion I had with some customers. It's not getting it initially. I can do a Kickstarter, do retail back, or get it initially, and it's the follow up. How do I get that next delivery? How do I get 6 months from now? How to restock? And kind of same deal of 3D printing miniatures. I could do it, and I think there would be a fairly decent initial buy-in to sell miniatures, but it's that down the road, are people going to buy that much stuff? Yeah, and I can print on demand, but the time and energy and the cost with that. And people think, yeah, you 3D print stuff for cheap. Yes and no. Your material cost, even if you're using decent resin, is fairly low. But if you add in your time of processing, slicing that stuff, making sure it's good, and then your printer time, the prices can go up. It's a little different from people printing it at home. That really, a lot of people just look at the cost of their STLs and maybe the material. Say, hey, this stuff's cheap. Well, as a retail shop, you do have to factor in your overall cost. Yeah, it's not much to your power bill, but it is some. Your counter space, your time in the store, all that stuff. It does add up. And is it worth the effort? Basically, it comes down to that. Um, and I think I don't know. I still go both ways on that. I do print terrain and stuff in the shop, but that's all using my filament printers. When you start having to print resin, that's a whole different story, different set of issues, good and bad. So, and then just bringing in a new game. I know I've talked about it before. Initially, yeah, I can sell just about anything. That initial that counts, board game, card games, but it's a follow on, and it's kind of two things. There is how much are people going to buy? How much are they going to buy the expansions? They're going to buy more miniatures. They're going to buy more booster packs. How much are they going to buy? And then comes the restock. Um, Even take board games now. It's point if I don't pre-order it, I can get it in the second printing, but the initial run is sold out fairly quick. So yeah, I can sell the stuff out. Get an extra one for the shop, but down the road, it's like, oh yeah, that's a great game. I want a copy. So I stock. Now it does help. I'm going more direct to several companies, but even take Wormspan, Stonemeyer Games. I buy direct, and they're really good to work with, but they don't print huge mass quantities like some of these bigger companies do. And I understand, they got that sweet spot of I print it, I want to sell it, and then turn that money to print more, create new games. It's kind of like having a retail business. I can't print a million copies, type all my money, um, and then hope I sell them. So I get it, but it's always a challenge. Um, and with that, it's kind of, I mentioned before, it's kind of like roulette. Which game do you bet on that's going to do good? Then where do you turn around and you make money? Do you reinvest it in that game? And is it even there to reinvest? Been look at the Gundam stuff. I think that's going to be personally very hot initially. I'm working on being able to get it. It's just there are concerns. Once again, how popular will it be? Will it be just a collectors, or is it a decent game? No one knows. They very little information, so that's out there to be determined. But then you also get into how easy is it going to be to get? Some stores probably not an issue. Some depends on who your distributor, who you've been buying from, how much you've been buying. There's a lot of stuff that goes into that. Um, I'm trying to set myself up to be able to get it and carry it because my feedback from my customers, which I appreciate everybody giving me feedback, is that it's definitely initially going to be a game to get into. Um, so we'll see. But yeah, you know, every Sunday and Monday when I am doing the restocks, it does take some thought. What I'm going to buy, how much am I going to put into a game? Um, we're talking about paints. Paints is kind of constant, especially with um, Citadel through Games Workshop and Monument, the two big paint sellers for me. It is kind of constant. I am constant ordering paint. Is once again not a high price tag. Not that it's cheap, but $5 to $8 for a pot of paint. Yeah, it takes to sell a lot of paint to actually make a decent profit. Now, I do sell a lot of paint, both Citadel and Monument, so that is there. So I do attempt to keep it in stock the best I can. Um, Games Workshop probably every other order. So I order once a week, so about every 2 weeks. And same with Monument, I'm ordering paint about every 2 weeks to keep it in stock. So that's a good thing. Is that while it's not huge, it's kind of like selling snacks here. It's not huge, but it is that constant income. You see sales almost every day from those items. Unlike some of the board games. Excuse me. Yeah, I still got my sinuses issues. Board games, good profit there, but you may not sell a board game or if you buy into a board game, you might initially sell a copy. Then how long is that second, third, fourth copy going to sit on the shelf? Anyway, yeah, there's some thoughts um, I had this morning from, once again, looking at orders, reorders. What do you order? Coming up on conventions, that adds another layer there, because a lot of, well, what I sell at conventions is what I demo and stuff, but it's not necessarily played in the shop or played that much, um, which is kind of interesting. I wish some of the games were played more in the shop, and that's a lot of that is my own fault for not pushing them more. But a lot of it is people buy into the game, that people like the game. Once they get everything, how much more are they going to buy? You know, I get it. I'm not going to buy stuff I don't need for a game. Once I get my faction or whatever I need for that, and even a board game expansions, how much more am I going to invest in that? Maybe I bought it all. Whereas, going to conventions and we keep demoing those games, we get new players, a lot of stuff I take is not easily available other places. So people do continue to buy and more stuff for those games. So that's good. Um, but then once again, I'm dealing with, stuff I sell in the shop and stuff I sell at conventions. Uh, the sweet spot, of course, is when I sell both places. Um, and, that's something I've been looking at, is continue to try to get those games that has more of an overlap. So anyway, what else? I think that's about all my thoughts. It doesn't take long to go through them. I am printing terrain for Lord of the Rings. Printing mics and walls. I'm printing some Rohan stuff from Conquest Creations. I got some great files. And once again, going back to printing terrain and stuff, it doesn't, especially good files. I download the file, I slice it. You're looking at a minute to 2 minutes. Time that I download it, time it uploads on my printers, and that stuff goes. And then once the print's done, I can start that process again in time I get ready, most cases, to upload it to my printers, pop off those prints and go. So once again, that's a definitely advantage to FDM printing versus resin printing. And with good files in these printers, I have very, very little. My failure rate is really, really small. So that helps both time and cost for printing stuff. And I can sit here and do it right here. That one of the drawbacks of resin, I have to do it in my back room, and I wouldn't be able to multitask and do that. So, yeah, I still, that's a struggle I have. I'd love to do some resin printing for some miniatures, but is it doable? Um, so anyway, well, that's enough random thoughts for today. So I'm gonna go. I need to vacuum. They put salt out or sand and something. It's got tracking. So yeah, I need to go do some vacuum. So we will see you guys next time, and have a good week.